First one today will be Vaughn Miles with Utah CDC, which is the SBA, a local SBA lender. Vaughn has been in banking for over 20 years. He's been an SBA loan officer with the Utah CDC for over a year. He resides in Highland with his wife and 5 kids. Right after Vaughn is done speaking, we'll ask Matt Packard to speak to us as well. Matt's the current CEO of Central Bank and the president of the Utah Bankers Association. Matt's been a banker for over 30 years and lives in Springville with his family there. So 2 local guys that know a thing or two about lending here today to help our local businesses out. So after that time, after Matt's done speaking, we'll open up for some questions and see if we can pick their brains a little bit. So without further introduction, that's Vaughn Miles from the Utah CDC.
Well, I would like to first of all thank Mike Mendenhall at Central Bank for the opportunity to speak to the Chamber of Commerce today. I appreciate this opportunity. My remarks will consist today of kind of some general information on the SBA program across the country, a little bit as it applies to the local businesses, statewide businesses, and then I'll address some of the top programs that the SBA offers to entrepreneurs and small businessmen. I want to start today by talking about the legislation. There was some new legislation on September 27th that President Obama signed into law. It's called the Small Business Jobs Act, and it was the most significant piece of small business legislation in over a decade. The law provides entrepreneurs and small business owners with greater access to capital and more tax relief so they can grow and create the jobs that America needs. Too many small businesses have had a hard time finding credit, and for this reason enhancements were made that were first made under the Recovery Act, which waived SBA fees for borrowers and increased guarantees for our lending partners. This dramatically increased the SBA volume at a time when the credit was frozen. They turned the $680 million in taxpayer dollars and nearly $30 billion in lending to support to nearly 70,000 small businesses across the country. The Jobs Act extends those 2 successful enhancements and will support an additional estimated $14 billion in loans to small businesses. The law also permanently increased the maximum size of the SBA's top 2 loan programs, the 7A program and the 504 program, from $2 million to $5 million, while increasing microloans from $35,000 to $50,000. And on a temporary basis, the law would increase the maximum size of the SBA Express loan from $350,000 to $1 million, and would also allow for some small business to be able to refinance their conventional commercial mortgage into a 504 loan. Furthermore, a small business lending fund administered by the Treasury Department will provide community banks with the capital they need, up to $30 billion overall, to increase lending to small businesses beyond the level of lending in 2009. On a local level, the Utah District Office of the SBA is number 10 district out of 68 districts nationally. And this is impressive as the Utah District is 45th out of 68 in terms of market size. And this is, I think that the state has been able to reach these numbers because we've had great lending partners in the state. Lenders have continued to use the 7A program in addition to the 504 program. And over the last fiscal year, which ended in September, SBA loans done in Utah was 1,677, totaling $238 million. Utah Certified Development Company is who I work for, is a authorized business for the SBA to be able to structure 504 loans. And that is all that we do. We, however, actively support other statewide programs, the Micro Loan Fund, Utah Business Lending Corporation, which assists small business and entrepreneurs through our monetary contributions, and we also participate on credit committees and advisory councils. We will continue to provide information services and educational training to the members of the community, and due to our involvement in and association with many other community organizations and financial institutions, we will continue to act as a clearinghouse for financial services information. Although we don't provide the services directly ourselves, we do know what services are available and whom to contact for a particular need. As I mentioned, I wanted to just briefly go over a couple of the most popular programs that the SBA offers to the small business person. Start with the 7A program. It is the SBA agency's most popular non-disaster financial services assistance program because of its flexibility in loan structure, variety of loan proceeds and uses, and the availability of this. It has broad eligibility requirements and the credit criteria to accommodate a wide range of financing needs. The business loans that SBA guarantees do not come from the agency, from SBA, but rather from the banks and other approved lenders. These loans are funded by these organizations, and they make the decisions to approve or not approve the applicant's request. The SBA guarantee reduces the lender's risk of borrower non-repayment. If the borrower defaults, the lender can request SBA to pay the lender that percentage of the outstanding balance guaranteed by SBA. This allows the lender to recover a portion from SBA of what it lent if the borrower can't make the payments. The borrower is still obligated for the full amount. To qualify for an SBA guarantee, a small business must meet the lender's criteria and the 7A requirements. In addition, the lender must certify that these funds could not be provided to the borrower under the terms and conditions that the SBA would provide. If the SBA is going to provide a lender with a guarantee, the applicant must meet certain eligibility and creditworthiness standards, and the loan structured under conditions acceptable to the SBA. Other eligibility determinations include business must be considered small by SBA definition, which is $15 million in total net worth and $5 million in average net income over the last 2 years. The nature of the business, there are certain businesses that are excluded from the SBA program. And owners must meet a personal resource test, which is essentially it's based on the size of the loan and the amount of the personal liquids of the business owner. 7A proceeds, as I said, can be used for a number of different things: to expand, renovate facilities, finance receivables and augment working capital, finance seasonal lines of credit, construct commercial buildings, and under other certain conditions, refinance debt. The loan guarantees vary depending on the type of loan, anywhere up to 85%. And currently, as part of the American Recovery Act and Reinvestment Act of 2009, these guarantees can be up to 90%. These guarantees are only temporary and are now only approved through year end. The actual interest rate for a loan guaranteed by SBA is negotiated between the applicant and the lender, but is subject to SBA maximums. There are both fixed and variable rate structures available. Loan maturities range from 25 years on real estate, 10 years on equipment, and 7 years for working capital. These types of terms are available. Short-term loans and revolving lines of credit are also available to help small businesses meet their short-term and cyclical working capital needs. Now, there are a number of benefits that the 7A loan provides. First, they can be used for a number of things: machinery, real estate, inventory, and working capital. So there's a lot of flexibility with this loan program. The funds can be provided as a term loan or a line of credit. It provides capital to businesses that may not otherwise qualify for conventional financing, and it can be used to refinance non-SBA debt, including credit cards, when used for business purposes. The 504 program is the loan program with which Utah CDC is involved. It is considered an economic development financing program, and it's basically designed to get long-term fixed-rate financing in the hands of small business owners. These loans assist small business owners in growing their business while at the same time aiding in job creation. 504 loans are for fixed asset acquisition and expansion and include the following: purchase land and construction of new buildings, purchase and or renovate existing buildings, acquire, install machinery, construct or remodel buildings on leased land, and any soft costs that may be involved in these projects. There are a certain number of SBA requirements that also must be met for the 504 loan. These include occupancy requirements. The building must be considered owner-occupied, and that is deemed at 51% for existing buildings and 60% for new construction. The business must be considered a small business by SBA definition, again, so any business less than $15 million in net worth and $5 million in net income. The business must provide one new job for every $65,000 funded. There are a few exceptions to this rule, and the owners, again, must meet the personal resource test in terms of liquid assets. The typical 504 loan structure is a 50-40-10 split, meaning that 50% of that loan is done by the lending partner or the bank, 40% by SBA, and then a 10% equity injection requirement by the borrower. These percentage can change slightly when when a startup business is involved or it's a special use property. The maximum limits on 504 financing are $5 million, and there are some exceptions there as well. The benefits to the borrower when using a 504 loan are numerous as well. Up to 90% financing for a project, which requires a much lower down payment than traditional bank financing. Long-term fixed rate funds, which enhance cash flow for the business. The effective 20-year term rate for a 504 loan in November was 5.1%, and it's been under 5.5% for about the last year and a half. And then the term, 10 to 20-year terms. On real estate, it's a 20-year term. Equipment is a 10-year. And again, that's a fixed rate for that period of time, so the fantastic rates right now. In closing, I just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to speak today to you small business owners. I also wanted to give special thanks to our Utah lenders who have remained committed to providing capital to Utah small businesses and the partnership that we enjoy with them. I would also like to recognize the small business owners and the enormous contribution that you make to your community. I encourage you to use the resources provided by SBA for small business. Any questions you have regarding SBA can be directed to your local lender, Utah CDC, or the SBA district office, which is in Salt Lake. There's also a website that is very informative. It can be found at sba.gov. Thank you for your time.